President Trump has made no secret about his intentions to root out the Mexican drug cartels.
Cartels are now officially in the Pentagon's crosshairs.
The president has already classified several cartels as terrorist organizations, and now he's reportedly giving our military the green light to engage those cartels at the border.
The US has just launched an unprecedented military operation, deploying Marines, fighter jets, nuclear submarines, and guided missile destroyers to confront Mexican cartels and Venezuela's regime.
This is about protecting the homeland from groups like the Sinaloa cartel. They import fentanyl from China and traffic it into the United States. Look at that.
Trump designated them as foreign terrorist organizations, blaming them for the flood of deadly fentanyl that killed more than 265,000 Americans.
This is an absolute historic first. Advanced US military assets targeting criminal organizations in the US hemisphere. Why now, you may ask? Well, for decades, Mexican cartels have grown from local drug traffickers into absolute global criminal empires. The numbers are staggering, and this rise was fueled by the US opioid epidemic, lax border policies, and corruption in Mexico. Under the previous administration, cartels exploited these gaps, expanding their grip on US soil. But now there's a new sheriff in town, and the Trump administration is putting those wrongs to right with a powerful military response. Cartels have seized control of neighborhoods in over 200 American cities now. They're running multi-billion-dollar human trafficking networks, commanding local gangs and flooding the streets with fentanyl, killing tens of thousands of people annually. Now, under the previous administration, their power grew unchecked. I think most things were unchecked under the previous admin. It was pretty crazy. But now President Trump is doubling down with Navy destroyers, closing in on Venezuela, labeling Maduro's government as a narco-terror cartel, and he's even offering a $50 million reward for his arrest. Let's dive into all the details here then. Mexican cartels have evolved into multinational criminal corporations. They rival some of the largest terrorist organizations now in scope and firepower. They operate sophisticated logistics networks. They use encrypted communications. They've got drones, military-grade weapons, and these weapons often outmatch the local police. And their reach extends massively now, hundreds of cities where they have this massive distribution network on drugs. They even have safe houses, they dominate entire neighborhoods with weak law enforcement. So cartel revenue then from human trafficking skyrocketed from $500 million in 2018 to $13 billion in 2024, rivaling their drug trade profits. They control migration routes, they extort migrants, forcing some into slavery and holding others for ransom. But beyond drugs, cartels siphon millions of barrels of crude oil from Mexican pipelines. They operate illegal gold and mineral mines with forced labor, and they launder billions through real estate, shell companies, and banks. Yes, no surprise there, the banks. Cartels dictate drug markets, they enforce protection rackets, they infiltrate local politics, they bribe officials, and they intimidate communities. Their influence is actually a direct challenge to US sovereignty. You look at the state of US cities over the last few years, a lot of that was from the cartel, because they've driven this fentanyl-based crisis into a national tragedy. A mere 2 milligrams, by the way, is equivalent to a pinch of salt. It can kill an adult. In 2024, US authorities seized enough fentanyl for 380 million lethal doses. They often disguise them as prescription pills, and they fuel all of these overdoses. It was over 107,000 deaths just in 2022 alone. This makes drug overdoses the leading cause of death for Americans under 50, and it costs the taxpayer $1 trillion annually in healthcare, lost productivity, and law enforcement. But human trafficking and illegal immigration add billions more in costs as well. Taxpayers foot the bill for housing these migrants, processing all the asylum claims, and policing the smuggling, while the cartels rake in all the profits. Entire communities are destabilized, with cartels exploiting vulnerable populations for profit. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, just remember to click the subscribe button and you'll get a lot more like it. Thank you. So what's the solution then? Well, President Trump has unleashed a military juggernaut with over 4,500 Marines, fighter jets, nuclear submarines, guided missile destroyers. This is a highly combat-ready force with one purpose in mind: to destroy whatever crosses their path. Submarines and destroyers will patrol sea routes, jets will secure airspace, and the Marines will do the hard work on the ground. They will conduct raids. By designating these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, then, the US can now deploy drone strikes, special forces, and financial sanctions against cartel leaders, labs, and smuggling networks, even in foreign nations, without declaring war. The deployment of 3 Navy destroyers near Venezuela signals a broader mission. These warships, equipped for strikes, blockades, and surveillance, are positioned to disrupt cartel shipments and pressure Maduro's regime, which Trump has branded as a narco-terror cartel. Doubling the bounty as well on Maduro to $50 million underscores the administration's intent to delegitimize his government. So you might say then, what is Venezuela's response to this? Well, Maduro's mobilizing over 4.5 million militiamen, vowing to defend every inch of sacred soil against what he calls as bizarre US threats. He's arming workers and peasants with missiles and rifles, as he puts it, while dismissing the Cartel of the Suns as a complete invention by the US. So tensions are spiking as Venezuela's military, backed by Russia and China, braces for confrontation. Sources claim that 4,000 Marines and sailors could arrive any day. We keep getting these numbers: 4,000, 4,500. Mexico's president has rejected US intervention, and Latin American allies warn this could spark a regional firestorm. This escalation carries immense risks. Venezuelan militias and military mobilization could lead to skirmishes at sea or in the air, potentially spiraling into a broader conflict. Cartels may strike back on US soil, escalating domestic violence. They are not going to go down without a fight, we can be sure of that. Mexico and other Latin American nations oppose US military intervention. Of course they do, they're making a lot of profit from it, which could strain alliances and unite the region against, well, how they call it, they're calling it imperialism. The fact is, they're making billions off the cartels. So again, these cartels are no longer just street gangs. They're billion-dollar empires now, with territorial control in the US and a global reach. With warships on Venezuela's doorstep and a $50 million bounty on Maduro, the US is signaling zero tolerance here. But at what cost? Will this dismantle the cartels, or will it ignite a new firestorm, a new conflict in the region? Stay tuned to the channel, because this, I think, is just the beginning of a new era of content here on this topic. Thank you so much for being a subscriber here. Really appreciate it. Take care. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.